Today I want to give you guys my brief overall feeling of how it feels like to live in Korea. What is your impression of Korean people? The Koreans actually judge as much as people are saying. They're calm and reserved. They're introverted. They stare. When I was there, people were nice to me, respectful. So here's the thing. If you see a person walking down the street, you don't know if they're happy. You don't know if they're upset. You know how it's hard to tell? So the only thing we could judge is their facial expression, right? Well, I think Korean people generally have a RBF. You know what RBF stands for? Resting B face. So, if you're a foreigner, or if you're someone who's not used to Korea, because of their expression, you might think they're all upset. But here's the thing, these people aren't upset. They're not. I think our facial structure is generally closer to RBF. I think that's what it is. And here's the thing, you know how American people are really expressive? As in, oh my gosh, wow, like, you know, all the facial expression. In comparison, people living in Asia, their expression is more reserved. Oh, thank you. You know, so there's less dynamic in the face. So you might think, oh, they hate this. They want to end things right here. But nah, it's just that we're not as dramatic in the expression. And also, unlike other countries' subway, Korea's subway is very quiet, like similar to the Japan. So people don't really talk there. People don't say anything. It's unmannered for you to listen to things without earphone. And oh my gosh, guys, you know what American behavior I realized? So I was hanging out with my producer friend yesterday, right? Or like we were talking in the restaurant. I realized my voice is loud. Ugly American behavior. I never really been aware of my voice level, because here's the thing, guys. Do I really sound like a loud person? I'm not. Like in America, I'm like a quiet boy. But I realized the level that I talk in certain places in Korea, I should be a little bit more mindful of the volume. I realized this because you know how it's not like my friend told me to be quiet, but I noticed that he drops the voice level significantly when he goes indoor. And you might be like, Hyosang, that's like an obvious thing to do. No, like more significantly. And here's the thing, even on the streets, you know, like how if you're outside, you don't really care. Like at least I thought I didn't care. But like depending on the people around you, is Hongdae actually that dangerous for girls at night? Well, I haven't been to Hongdae this year. You know, I've been to it previous year. You know how I feel about the safety in Korea so far? This is a sensitive topic. You might not, you know, necessarily agree. And also, I would never know what it feels like to be a girl in Korea because I'm a man, you know. I can't experience something outside of my gender. So, you don't have to trust me on this. I genuinely feel like it's extremely safe. Like, extremely safe. Like, what I mean by extremely safe is, you know how, doesn't matter which city in America, past midnight, like let's say like 12, maybe like 5 a.m., you know how it's not recommended to go outside? In Korea, I think it's fine. Like obviously, I know there's danger in Korea. There's danger and there's crime in Korea. But the impression is just different. So there's danger everywhere, but I'm telling you, at least the danger that I'm sensing with my skin. Guys, typical man logic. No, guys. Have you ever traveled to different cities or different countries? You know how you could just feel the danger with your skin? Like, oh, this area feels dangerous, like I should go home, you know, I shouldn't stay outside. Like in terms of that skin level danger sensation, even though that's not always accurate, it's much lower. Because here's the thing, first of all, there's a lot of lights, especially in Seoul. So you know how the level of light also affects the level of crime and the level of safety? What I mean is, you know, like generally brighter places have a less chance of crime happening. So the fact that there's a lot of light in Korea is one good thing. Second is, I don't know the exact statistics. Please, guys, don't mark my words too much on this. There's less homeless. So, this is maybe me being way too honest, but you know how generally, if you ever travel to LA, one of the reasons why you feel really unsafe is, you know how there are crazy people in cities? I'm not just referring to homeless, like the lunatics, the ones in the subway station who start screaming and they like start, you know, harassing girls for no reason. I haven't seen a single person like that. They exist in Korea, but like way less than Boston or LA. And here's the thing, guys. This is what I mean by safer. I'm not talking about safer as in like people are kind and they don't commit crime. Like it's not just that. There's no druggies. Guys, this is so big. If you ever travel to any city in America, you could always find a druggie. You know what I mean? Like a drug addict. But there's none of that. You can't ever find that in Korea. Maybe they exist, but at least not in public space. If anything, there might be like alcoholic, but I haven't spotted them so far. So that's how I feel about the safety here. And Okay, now into the more serious talk. You know how different countries have different level of niceness sensation? Like, have you guys ever heard like, oh, Australians are so nice, or people in New Zealand are nice, like Japanese people are so kind, those kind of things? Well, how do you guys think Korean people are? In my opinion, Korean people, the impression is generally cold. They're all generally like, not like passive aggressive. It's very neutral. There is no like surface level niceness. You know how if you go to American Starbucks or something, you know like the sensation of like, oh, how are you doing today? You know how they smile? There's none of that. Like you don't really feel that in Korea. They don't really like hi. They don't have that smile. Yeah, like indifferent. So the base level of service is very like this. You know, unless you go to like a well-serviced place, things like. Thing is, here's the thing. I'm not really a person who enjoys small talk. Oh, another thing. There's no small talk. Ain't none of that stuff. Unless you like specifically started and you're a little bit more amiable person, no small talk. No one's gonna start going like, so how's the weather? Like, you know, like, like, you know, are you traveling? Like, none of that stuff. None of that stuff. Just imagine the whole country as introverted in the standard of American people. Yeah. Thank God I hate small talk. Thing is, I do too. But then here's the thing. I don't small talk either. But now that everyone's not small talking, it makes me think like, oh, are people upset? But no. It's not that they're upset. It's just like, imagine the entire country is Hyosan. Like the whole country is me. So they talk, you know, when they're with their friends and everything, but like when they're with strangers, they don't really talk. The whole freaking country is me, which makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Can I have another talk? This is a fashion talk. You know what I thought was so weird? Okay, here is something I might change my mind later once I stay here longer and understand more. By the way, again, I lived in Korea for half of my life. This is just something personally I don't understand. Why do Korean people think everyone care about looking same? Like, what I mean by this is, so people generally dress darker. Here's the thing. Like a serious observation. Number one, Korean people just dress better. So before American people talk bad about Korean people, about how they dress the same and blah, blah, blah. Okay, half of that population needs to not talk because you don't have the right to speak when you dress. Like, you know how like Korea wearing same fashion, it exists, but you don't know anything about fashion, so you shouldn't speak. And then, okay, if you are interested in fashion and you talk about the Korean fashion, it is true. It has way less diversity than other countries such as America. Because of the mono-ethnic, you know, generally diversity also comes from race. Like when you have a racial diversity, that's where you also get musical diversity, fashion diversity. But because everyone's raised in the same country, same environment, same race, it's harder to have that diversity in the fashion. Just kind of think about it, guys. Imagine you ever go to like the white girl frat parties or you know, college. Sorry, I shouldn't have called out white people. But you know how they all like dress the same? Imagine the whole country is like college. Never mind. Yeah, you get the idea. Yeah. But I just want to defend. Korea defending same is different from Korea dressing bad. I swear they dress really good. And if you can't tell, that means you just don't have a fashion eye. You know how I know this? I'm the worst dressed one here. Oh, no. I'm the worst dressed one where people are able to tell whether I'm a foreigner or not because I don't dress well. Oh, so in one way you might think like, oh, like, you know, you see how like non-Korean people, we dress diversely. No, you just dress bad differently. Like obviously there are people who have good fashion in America and all that, but like wearing different Walmart t-shirt is not like a positive diversity. Like, you know, that's yeah. Like if you're that person, you can't diss Korea's fashion. But okay, now going to the like now dissing about Korea just a little. I don't understand why people feel pressured to dress the same. Like, this is not my words. You know how I hung out with my producer friend yesterday? He said what Korean people value the most is brand and then looks. So like brand matters the most. And I was like, why? Like that's something I couldn't understand. So if you wear a jacket, then judging, you know how like whether something looks good or bad, you would judge by looks, right? Instead of that, they would judge by brand. Like, oh, what brand of jacket is like, is that, you know, K2? Is that North Face? Is that Canada Goose? Kind of like that. So like you scan and you look at the brand and then you judge the money level, if anything. The thing is, I don't know if anyone here has ever gone into fashion. When you start to enter fashion, that's when you start caring about those. So when you don't care, you don't care at all. But when you start studying, then you're like, oh, that person is wearing Montclair. That person is wearing, you know, Celine or stuff like that. But imagine the whole country is like that. Even like moms and even dads are be like, she's wearing a Chanel, but that looks fake. Like, imagine the whole country, yeah. Well, obviously not whole country, but the ratio is much higher. So generally, people are more knowledgeable about brands and they care more. And as a result, they judge more, you know. But I think this is like a very... I don't know. This is a part I don't understand about Korea, because I feel like if you really like fashion, you need to escape from caring about brand. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to not judge a clothes by a brand. As long as you express what you want, then it should be fine. Like, brand shouldn't matter. But instead, I think the reason why Korean people judge brand, it's not that they judge brand. They judge your trendiness and your money ability. So what do you guys think about the brand Off-White? Does anyone know the brand Off-White? You know how once the X logo and everything was really popular? Well, if you wear Off-White t-shirt in Korea right now, people are gonna look down at it. The reason why is because it's completely out of trend. And it's like you give an impression of someone rich but doesn't know anything about fashion. That's the impression. So like each brand gives you an impression of who you are. It like you could judge that person's trendiness, their awareness of the society. So, but then that moves so fast to the point where it's not even brand. You know how there's different colors of Jordans? You guys ever seen those black and white Jordans? You might have seen some Korean girls wear it. It's like in 2023, if you wear those, then you're like trending. But then if you wear them in 2026, then you're like, you're still wearing that thing? Like, you know what I mean? So not even like brand level trend, but individual product level. Yes. Who cares what's trendy though? Do you know what the issue is? The issue is not even if you're wearing something that's trendy, right? The issue is if you wear something that is late to the trend, then you look like I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. Like you look like a fool, if that makes sense. So what are the good brands? Like as of now, well, Nike never really goes down, and it's hard depending on which specific part of clothing. Being Korean stylist sounds exhausting. It'll be extremely extreme. So I don't know how international K-pop fans feel about K-pop fans dressing up. You know how, guys, can you guys tell what the idols are wearing? So I honestly can't tell, but Korean people could tell. They're like, oh, that's like a Chanel something, that pants is something something, you know, that is something something, like that. That's also probably the reason why Korean idols dress well, because the whole country is so fashion sensitive that as a result, imagine you're idol, but if you dress out of trend, are you an idol? No. So like these stylists have to like work their brain to the most trendiest level. So that's how I follow a fashion. What else? At least this is Seoul. Have you guys ever traveled to New York or Boston, LA? Do you guys stop at red lights for the crosswalks? Well, in Boston, nobody stops at red light. What I mean by that is, in the wide, like very long crosswalks, people do stop. But in those short, very, like, you know, like few meter, no one stops there. And I'm the only one who stops at red light there. In Korea, the shorter crosswalk doesn't have a traffic light. In fact, most roads in Korea are mix of car roads and pedestrian roads. I'll show you right now. Guys, look at this. Look at this road. Is there a clear border between where people walks and car goes? Or like here? You might be like, this is pedestrian. This doesn't always exist, if that makes sense. So usually it's only this. So people walk here and then cars walk here. Like ironically, even though it's a walking country, there's not always so people basically, okay, I'll show you. People basically walk here to here, but then if you walk at the middle, then car's gonna hit you. So you walk here. Like people walk at this, like, you know, do you guys see what I'm talking about? Do you see? Do you see what I'm talking about? Like in K-dramas, the same for Japan. You know what the issue is? So as a result, every other second, cars passed right next to you. You know, like right next to you. Yeah, India is kind of like that too. You know what I thought? Guys, this is so dangerous. I don't know why these people are so insensitized by it. It's so dangerous. But you know what's surprising? No one gets hit. It's almost like India. You know, when I saw, you know how when you watch the city India, like cities in India, and how like cars and people are mixed in, I used to be like, wow, how do Indian people not have accidents there? My home country was the same way. Like we're the same way. Yes. So I kept making the mistake when I walk. I kept making the mistake of walking in the middle of the street. Like you might be like, Hyosang, why would you do that? But basically, I don't have this awareness that I need to walk at the corner. The only reason, do you know why they have this right here? It's because it's right next to a school. Normally they don't have one. Like this. So I thought, here's the thing. Is this like a money issue? Is it because Korea is poor? No, it's not even all that. There's physically no space for them to build a sidewalk. Does that make sense? If you guys look here, if I give you money, can you make a sidewalk? You can't generate like a space that doesn't exist. You either have to lessen the road or you either have to like, you know, shrink the buildings, but you can't do this. So this is not like a problem that you could ever fix in Korea. So you just have to be very, very careful about car. And another thing is, you know, guys, what goes first, car or the person? If you meet at a crosswalk, which one goes first? In America, I believe the rule or the law is person first. It's always person first. Well, in Korea, not really. not really. Maybe car first? Yeah. Well, it is generally person first, but the sensation is a little different. In America, car would always, almost, not always, but like generally, but in the same timing, in Korea, generally cars would go a little bit first. Oh, and also the holding door thing. Have you guys heard the whole thing about like Korean people holding door, not holding door? Have you guys ever seen those memes? How different nationalities hold doors, and American people holding door, German people holding door. Well, yeah, we don't really hold door. But here's the thing, compared to 2020, you know how right now it's 2026, the young ones are holding doors. Like it used to be that nobody holds door, but I think you know since Korean people are sensitive about social media, we've seen those memes. You know what I mean? Like those Instagram memes had affected the younger generation. So like generally nobody holds door, but the younger students were holding doors for me. So I was like, they've seen the memes. They've seen the reels. Yes. Oh, you know, so I thought Korean people don't hold doors. So the other day I was walking out of the building. I opened the door for myself and then I didn't hold it. But then there was the old grandpa walking behind me and he made like a noise when I didn't hold the door for him. It was like, you know. So it made me think. I thought we agreed on no holding doors. Like, why? Yeah, but it's not like he said anything. He was like, you know, like because of the door. No, here's the thing. It wasn't like a grandpa on a cane kind. He was just like a grandpa, like no canes. And now I felt bad. So I was like, should I apologize? But then like they already moved on. So, man. So if you ever come to Korea, you could hold doors and that would be a manner thing to do. But just don't expect people to say thank you. Like that's another thing, is that when they get a favor that they didn't ask for, they're not really going to say like thank you or anything like that. They're not really gonna care, you know? Yeah. Which I thought it was interesting because I thought even if it's a culture where people don't hold doors, you know how in America people say like thank you. Like you know like that guy, like thank you. They don't do that. They don't do that. I don't know why. And here's the thing, not just the holding door, even if there is someone who does a nice thing, they don't like there's no okay, you know how I said there's no small talk? It's to the point where there's no small talk thank you. There's no like, oh hi, like oh thank you. Like you know like I shouldn't say like the white people behavior. Like do you know what I mean by white people behavior? Oh thank you. Oh like you go first. Like none of those talking. If anything it's like this. Like you know, like that's about it. What about sorry? Like even sorry, I haven't heard anyone say sorry out loud. No one says like 죄송합니다. 실례가 돼서 뭐. No one says this. It's like you know? Yeah. A lot of things are unspoken, if that makes sense. Just like me. The whole country is me and Sean. You guys know how Sean acts? Have you guys ever seen my roommate Sean? When he comes on stream, what does he do? He's like you know? Yeah. That's like the communication language. Minecraft villager type. Yes, exactly. Oh, you never seen my roommate? It's okay. Once we go back to America, I'll show you guys. You guys have any questions about my impression in Korea so far? Here's the thing. A lot of the things that I say might be incorrect. Because it's not like I live here for a whole year, so. As a black person, the head nod is not foreign to me. Oh. How do people make friends? I don't know. Okay, here's the thing. If you're a foreigner here who doesn't go to like a college or anything, if you just moved to Korea, I don't know how you're supposed to make friends. Guys, I'm Korean, I don't know how to make friends. I don't even know how you guys are gonna make friends. I don't know how these foreigners, YouTubers living in Korea, they make their friends. I don't know how they do that. Yeah, like at least you know how there's people who come here for like foreign exchange students. Then you'll be able to meet people at school. Then maybe, but if not, if you just come here as like a worker, I don't know how you're gonna make friends. How? Like how? The barrier for getting to know each other in Korea is very high. So it's very difficult for you to break that barrier. And here's the thing, guys, you might think it's cause you're foreign. Like, oh, it's because I'm foreigner, like these people don't want to develop an intimate relationship. But no, it's just like it's just hard for everybody. You know, it's not just a you thing. Yes, so they're shy. It takes much more effort for you to become a close relationship in Korea. Do you feel less Korean after living in America for so long? Fashion wise, yes. I need to up my fashion game. That's definitely true. Personality wise, I think I'm starting to think more American. And you know what I mean by thinking American? Americans generally have a more liberal tendency. Like a liberal tendency. So as a result, I'm not just talking about like politically. A lot of the common sense that you think of are liberal. You still got some Korean thinking? So as a result, to Korean people, I have a very liberal mind, but to American people, I'm still conservative. And I'm not just talking about politics. I'm talking about like general ethics and mentality. Yeah. Yo, where am I walking to? I'm not walking to anywhere specific. I'm just walking around. Really? You should give it a go. Are we eating? I was gonna eat after I end the stream. Do you know why? Because first of all, I thought, making you guys watch my eating wasn't like a fun content. And second, it's hard to look for restaurants while I'm streaming. Oh, you want to see the food? You guys want to go to a restaurant? I was gonna go to McDonald's. You want to see food? How do normal people make friends and meet new people? Like work or school or things? I take an hour to... Oh wait, you guys enjoy watching me eat? I thought that's what bores people out. I thought you were streaming later. What happened? I became a little bit... It's hard to pick a different timing. You enjoy that? No, because you know how when I eat, we talk less. I see less chat. So it makes me think like, oh, is people not enjoying this, You know how the number of chat doesn't necessarily equal the number of enjoyments. But for me, it's hard to tell. Yeah. Is conservative average in Korea? You know how different countries have different tendency? Just imagine Asian countries are a little bit more conservative in their mentality. It's because you don't give us any? I'll feed you guys some food. I really want to ask if enhypen are popular. Okay. You guys wanna, why don't we have some, some of that talk. Enhypen is more popular than I thought. What I mean by that is, I thought nobody would know Stray Kids or enhypen. It's not that bad. They do know. It's just that they're nowhere popular as girl group, if that makes sense. Even ATEEZ is somewhat known, which I was like surprised. But okay. Realistically, have I seen a single ATEEZ ad? No. I haven't seen a single ATEEZ model. Have I seen NCT? Not really. I've seen enhypen though. But this is like barely like 10%. The rest, oh yeah, I've seen Stray Kids. Like, you know where you find Stray Kids in Korea? Do you know where you find Stray Kids? It's if you go to the airport. You don't find it in the place that domestic people visit. If you go to airport, if you go to Hongdae, you go to like tourist place, there's Stray Kids there. Basically, they just don't appeal to Korean people, if that makes sense. Oh, you know who is in Korea? Stray Kids isn't in Korea. You know who is? Felix is. And Hyunjin. The other members, not really. Only Felix and Hyunjin are in Korea. In Korea as in they exist in advertisement, they exist in posters and things like that. I don't see Blackpink either. You hear Blackpink music, but I don't see... Oh no. Wait, hold on. You see Blackpink everywhere. Lisa, Rose, Jennie, like they're everywhere. But here's the thing, guys. You don't ever see Blackpink. You only see members. Like, does that make sense? They're modeling everywhere, but individually. If that makes sense. Compared to like aespa, you see them modeling as a group, but you know what I also don't really see? I don't really see that many BTS. Yeah. Maybe it's because they're too expensive. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mix more popular in Korea? No. Mix is still not that popular, in my opinion. There's not that many BTS. I don't really hear BTS music. I don't really see BTS. I think we might start to see them when they make a comeback. But until then, probably not. I saw Plabe. You know, guys, yesterday while we were at the convenience store, I saw Plabe kimbap at the convenience store. What group is most popular? aespa. aespa is, I would say, you see them everywhere. But here's the thing. That's different from like, I don't exactly know if that matches the public popularity. Because just because you see someone on advertisement a lot doesn't mean you like them, so... Are Koreans in Korea very different than regular Korean Americans? From the start, guys, Koreans and Korean Americans, they're like different nationalities, if that makes sense. Can I diss Korean Americans as a Korean American? First of all, Korean Americans dress good for an American. Like, but if you come to Korea, then nah, you don't dress well at all. Like, you know, yeah, like you dress well, like compared to other Californian citizens. But and Koreans versus Korean American, completely different personality. What I mean by that is, if I imagine like a Korean American F-boy, then I'll kind of be like, hey, what's up? My name is Min. I live in the Orange County. Nice to meet you. You know, like you listen to Keshi, like drank too much. Oh, I love DPR Ian. Yeah, DPR Ian is my favorite. You know, I drive a Honda Civic. Like, you know, like Korean American. In my brain, like that's like Korean American. Korean. It's like more less extroverted. More like yeah. You know, I don't know how to describe it. More less buttery, more calmer, I would say. Oh, more nonchalant. Oh my god. Okay, guys. Have you guys watched Singles Inferno? You already know this, but like, you know how there was one Korean American guy? Imagine that's like Korean American, and imagine the other members as like Koreans. Like you could literally see that difference there. It's the difference between Korean American and Korean. Korean American guys like, yo, what's up? Like, and the Koreans, they're like, if anything, they're a little bit more mature at the same age. I'm not saying like this is just like a good thing, but they're way more nonchalant. They're way more adult-like behavior, if that makes sense. Yeah. Is TWS popular in Korea? TWS is, in my opinion, they're more popular than ENHYPEN, I would say. Or maybe like equally. But no, TWS might be a little bit more... No, ENHYPEN is coming up recently. No one used to know ENHYPEN in Korea, but recently they started, so... Alright.